Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're doing something a little different. We're looking at just one thing, something you probably see all the time online, an Amazon listing.
Yeah, specifically the page for the paperback of The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood.
Exactly. And it's kind of amazing how much info you can actually pull from just one of these pages.
Oh, totally. It's like a snapshot, isn't it?
Right.
Marketing, plot, author stuff, what actual readers think.
Yeah.
It's all sort of crammed in there.
Right. So our mission today is basically to unpack all of that for you. We'll sift through the listing and pull out the most interesting bits about the book, what makes it tick, without you having to do all the scrolling.
Let's dive in. Where does Amazon even put this book, category-wise?
Good question. Okay, so it's listed under books, then literature and fiction, genre fiction, and finally, feel good.
Feel good. That tells you something right off the bat, doesn't it?
Yeah, it signals, like, this is probably meant to be enjoyable, maybe escapist, not some heavy literary piece.
Exactly. Comfort reading, likely with a happy ending, which fits the romance genre, generally.
And speaking of feeling good, the price might make your wallet feel good. The paperback is $9.15.
Huh. And is that a discount?
Yeah, pretty big one. They list it as 43% off a list price of $16.
Wow, 43%. That's significant. Makes you think they're aiming for a wider audience now that it's been out a while.
Could be. Or just a standard paperback push. It's definitely an eye-catching price. And it says, in stock.
What about shipping? People always want to know that.
Right. It mentions free delivery options. Let's see, potentially Sunday, May 4th, if you spend over $35. And possibly even tomorrow, April 30th, for Prime members. Assuming you're ordering today, Tuesday, the 29th of April, 2025.
Okay, so pretty accessible. And are there other ways to get it? Used copies, maybe?
Yep, used options are listed too, starting from just $1.93.
$1.93. Okay, so there's definitely a secondary market. People are reading it and passing it on.
And they also mention other formats right there. Kindles is $12.99.
More than the paperback, interestingly.
Yeah. Audiobook is listed as $0.99, but that's probably with an Audible membership trial or something.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there's a hardcover option too for $24.50.
So basically, however you like to read, they've kind of got you covered. Paperback, digital, audio, hardcover, even used.
Pretty much. Catering to everyone. So, okay, we know how to get it, but what is it? Let's look at the plot summary. That's usually the main hook, right?
Oh, definitely. What's the premise?
It sounds like a classic trope, actually. Fake relationship,
Okay, always popular.
but with a twist. It's set in academia among scientists.
Ooh, interesting setting. STEM romance. That's become quite a thing.
Yeah. So the main character is Olive Smith. She's a third-year PhD candidate, and apparently she doesn't really believe in, like, lasting love.
Okay, a skeptic.
Hmm?
And who's the other half of this fake relationship?
That would be Adam Carlsen. He's described as a young hotshot professor and, quote, a well-known ass.
Okay, so grumpy professor type. I sense a dynamic forming.
Totally. Grumpy meets, well, maybe not Sunfine, but definitely someone less grumpy. So the whole thing kicks off because Olive needs to convince her best friend she's dating someone.
Why?
The summary implies it's to get her friend off her back about dating someone else, maybe. Anyway, in a moment of panic, she just grabs the nearest guy and kisses him.
And the nearest guy is?
Professor Adam Carlsen, the ass.
Oh boy, that's awkward.
Very, but here's the twist. He actually agrees to keep up the charade.
Really? The grumpy professor goes along with it. Why?
The summary doesn't say exactly why he agrees, which is part of the hook, I guess, but then things get complicated.
Naturally.
There's a big science conference. Apparently it's super important for Olive's career, maybe her PhD, and suddenly Adam is being supportive. Unexpectedly so.
So the lines start to blur.
Exactly. Their fake relationship starts feeling maybe not so fake.
The central conflict. Her hypothesis about love versus, actual feelings cropping up. A classic romance structure, but the academic setting gives it a different flavor.
Right. So that's the story hook. What about the behind-the-book details?
Okay, yeah. Author is Ali Hazelwood, and they make sure to mention she's a #1 New York Times bestselling author.
Not just for this one, right?
No, it mentions love, theoretically, as well. So she's established. Publisher is Berkeley.
Berkeley. Big name in romance.
Definitely. Publication date for this paperback? Or maybe the original. It says September 14, 2021. Let's assume original publication.
Okay, so it's been out for a few years.
Yeah. Page count is 400 pages.
400. So not a super quick read, but not enormous either. Standard length, maybe?
Pretty standard for the genre, yeah. Then you've got the physical details, dimensions, ISBN numbers, and useful stuff if you're ordering.
ISBN 10 059333688, ISBN 13 978 05933368823. Good for library requests, too.
Exactly. But beyond the basics, they really trumpet its success.
Oh, yeah? How so?
Well, right near the top, it screams, the instant New York Times bestseller and TikTok sensation.
TikTok sensation. Okay, that explains a lot about its reach, probably. Book Talk is huge.
Huge. And it also says, as seen on The View.
Really? The View. Okay, mainstream exposure.
Plus, a BuzzFeed Best Summer Read of 2021 and an Indie Next Pick.
So hitting a lot of different markers. Online buzz, TV, book industry recognition. They're covering all the bases to show this book made waves.
Precisely. It's all about building that social proof. And then you get the editorial reviews, quotes pulled from various places.
What are they highlighting there?
Entertainment Weekly apparently called it a literary breakthrough and praised Hazelwood as both an academic powerhouse and divinely talented novelist.
Wow. Literary breakthrough is strong praise for a genre romance. That's interesting.
It is. And Christina Lauren, who's a big name in romance writing herself, called it contemporary romance's unicorn. Deeply brainy and delightfully escapist.
Okay, that brainy and escapist combo seems key, hitting that STEM appeal again. She also says it's for all of the Ollas in the world who have deeply, ardently waited for this exact book.
Yeah, suggesting it really connects with a specific kind of reader, maybe someone who sees themselves in the academic setting or the character.
What else? Any shorter snippets?
Yep. Mariana Zapata. Funny, sexy, and smart. Short and sweet.
Hits the main points.
Jessica Clare mentions the grumpy meets sunshine dynamic explicitly.
Yeah.
Says it's fun and utterly endearing, and like the nods towards fandom in romance novels, suggests it's kind of self-aware.
Right. Playing with the trope.
Pop Sugar calls it pure, slow-burning gold with lots of chemistry.
Slow burn. Okay, so maybe the romance takes time to develop.
Seems likely. Library Journal gave it a starred review, praising the smart, witty dialogue and diverse cast of likable secondary characters. Calls it realistic and amusing.
Realistic is interesting given the fake dating premise. Maybe the academic setting feels real.
Could be. Shelf Awareness says, hilarious and heartwarming, a perfect amalgamation of sex and science.
Sex and science. Quite the tagline.
And Publishers Weekly notes the whip-smart and endearing characters, snappy prose, and how it convincingly navigates the fraught shoals of academia.
Okay, so a lot of praise focusing on the writing, the characters, the humor, and that blend of romance with the academic world. Seems pretty consistent.
Very consistent messaging across different types of reviewers.
So who is Ali Hazelwood? The page tells us a bit more about her too, right?
It does. Beyond being a bestseller, it mentions she also writes peer-reviewed articles about brain science.
Seriously? So she actually is in academia?
Apparently so. Holds a PhD in neuroscience, which explains the authentic feel of the setting, maybe.
No kidding. That's actually really cool. Adds another layer.
Yeah. And it gives a bit of personal background, too. Originally from Italy, lived in Germany and Japan.
Wow.
Before moving to the U.S. for her PhD.
Quite the journey. Any fun facts?
It says she enjoys crocheting, eating cake pops, and watching sci-fi movies with her 3 feline overlords and her slightly less feline husband.
Okay, so she sounds like she has a sense of humor about herself, too. Makes sense, given the book reviews.
Definitely adds to that relatable, maybe slightly quirky author persona.
Okay, this is interesting. There's a section called Popular Highlights. What's that about?
Ah, yeah, that's a Kindle feature. It shows you passages that lots of Kindle readers have highlighted in the ebook. It's like crowdsourced important moments.
Oh, neat. So what are people highlighting in this book?
The top one, highlighted by, wow, over 10,800 readers, is Adam saying, I'm going to take care of this, and I'll come find you, and I'll take care of you.
Okay, yeah. I can see why that would be popular. Very protective hero moment.
Totally taps into that romance reader desire. The second one, over 9,000 highlights, is Olive realizing the protein bar Adam gave her was covered in chocolate.
A smaller detail. What do you think that signifies?
Maybe it's about him paying attention. Showing care in a small, specific way, a little gesture that means a lot.
Yeah, could be. Little moments of connection. What's the third one?
This one's got nearly 6,000 highlights. It's a dialogue snippet. Olive says, fine, we can say that you broke up with me. And Adam replies, because that sounds credible. Described as him saying it dryly.
Ah, so capturing that dry humor, the banter between them?
Exactly. So the highlights show readers are connecting with the protective hero, the small moments of care, and the witty dialogue. Gives you a good sense of the emotional core.
Definitely. Okay, what about the overall customer reviews? Beyond just the curated ones.
Right, the user ratings. It's got a 4.5 out of 5-star average.
4.5 is pretty high.
Very high, especially with the number of ratings. It said 76,465 global ratings.
Wow. Okay, so that 4.5 is based on a lot of opinions.
A huge sample size. And the breakdown is interesting, too. 65% are 5-star reviews.
65%, that's a strong majority loving it.
Definitely. Then 21% give it 4 stars. So combined, that's what, 86% giving it 4 or 5 stars?
That's overwhelmingly positive. What about the lower ratings?
8% gave it 3 stars, 3% gave it 2 stars, and 3% gave it 1 star.
Okay, so a small minority really didn't like it, but most people seem pretty happy.
Exactly. And they have that AI-generated summary now, too, which tries to condense the main sentiments.
Right. What does the AI say people are talking about?
It picks up on fun, lighthearted, relatable characters, chemistry, all the stuff we've kind of seen already. Positive feedback on the writing style, especially the humor.
Uh-huh. Any negatives in the AI summary?
Yeah, it mentions mixed opinions on pacing and plot. Some found it maybe predictable or a bit contrived.
Okay, so echoing that maybe the plot itself isn't super original, even if people enjoyed the execution.
Seems to be the gist. Predictable, maybe, but still fun for most.
Do they pull out actual quotes from top customer reviews?
They do? Let's see. Lots of enthusiasm for the STEM setting, people saying they loved seeing scientists as main characters. And the fake dating trope gets mentioned a lot, usually positively, by people who enjoy that kind of story.
So leaning into the tropes works for the target audience.
Absolutely. There's also appreciation for demisexual representation. Someone notes it's not explicitly stated, but they felt it was there and appreciated it.
Oh, interesting. Adding another layer of character depth that resonates.
Yeah. And tons of love for the character dynamic. That grumpy hero and sunshine heroine thing comes up again and again. People love Adam's development, apparently.
The well-known ass becomes lovable, I guess.
That seems to be the arc. Lots of mentions of humor, too. People saying it made them laugh out loud.
Always a good sign for a feel-good book.
Definitely. Descriptions like cute, endearing, sexy in the right spots. So hitting that sweet spot of romance.
And the writing style.
Generally praised as readable, easy, flows well. Makes it sound like an accessible read.
But what about those mixed points? Pacing and plot.
Yeah, you see that reflected too. Some reviewers call the pacing fast. Others say it felt slow or dragged in places.
Huh. Opposite opinions on pacing.
Happens all the time. Depends on what you like. And with the plot, yeah, you get comments like predictable or you know where it's going, but often followed by, but I still enjoyed the ride. Others found it purely entertaining.
So it seems like if you like the characters and the vibe, the predictability might not matter as much.
That seems to be the consensus from the positive reviews, yeah.
Okay, one last big piece of content on the page is usually an excerpt, right? A taste of the actual book.
Yep, chapter 1 is included here.
How does it start? Does it throw you right in?
Pretty much. It opens with Olive, our PhD student, thinking about her hypothesis, basically, her tendency to choose the more chaotic option in life.
Haha, okay. Relatable for some, maybe.
And that chaotic choice immediately leads her to,
Yeah.
well, kissing someone. A tall, unknown man in a hallway in the biology labs at 11 p.m.
Just randomly.
Not quite random. Her friend Anna is nearby, and Olive is panicking because she needs Anna to think she's moved on and is dating someone. So impulse kiss.
Okay. The setup for the fake dating thing. How's the kiss described?
Initially awkward, but then it says it becomes different. She momentarily forgets why she's doing it.
Ooh, instant chemistry, maybe. Even in a panic kiss.
Seems like it. But then reality hits, and she realizes who she just kissed.
Dr. Adam Carlsen.
Bingo. The notoriously mean professor. She immediately starts freaking out internally, recalling his scary reputation.
And what does he do?
He seems mostly puzzled,
Yeah.
which leads to this incredibly awkward conversation.
Yeah, I bet.
He's like, can I help you? And she tries to deny anything happened. Then there's this whole back and forth about consent because she apparently blurted out, can I kiss you? And he sort of snorted in response, which she took as a yes.
Oh my God. That's mortifyingly funny.
Totally. He even mentions maybe needing to file a Title IX complaint, probably dryly, adding to her panic.
Yikes.
So then she has to explain the whole convoluted reason involving her friend Anne and Anne's ex, Jeremy, and why she needed Anne to think she was on a date.
How does Carlson react to that?
with skepticism. Very dry responses, doesn't seem convinced at all. Olive just gets more and more embarrassed and keeps apologizing.
This sounds painful, but also kind of hilarious to read.
Exactly. She eventually just bolts, runs away.
Yeah.
But as she's running,
Yeah.
he calls her by her name, Olive.
Ooh. Even though he's supposed to be this mean professor who probably doesn't know student names.
Exactly. The text notes that it never even occurred to Olive that Dr. Adam Carlsen, known as, had called her by her name.
Intriguing little detail, a hint that maybe he's not quite what he seems right from the start.
Precisely. It ends the excerpt on that note, plus Olive realizing she left her stuff behind. A very chaotic, funny, and intriguing opening.
Definitely sets the tone and the central dynamic. You get the awkwardness, the humor, the grumpy professor, the slightly disastrous heroine, and that little spark.
For sure. So yeah, putting it all together, that single Amazon page gives you a surprisingly deep look, doesn't it?
It really does. You get the plot, the author's background, the publisher, the critical buzz, the TikTok fame, what actual readers highlighted, the overall ratings, specific review points, and a taste of the writing itself.
More than just a buy now button.
Absolutely. So hopefully for you listening, this deep dive saved you some scrolling and gave you a pretty solid picture of the love hypothesis and what it's all about. It shows just how much info is packed into these everyday digital spaces.
Which leads us to the final thought, maybe. After hearing all this, the massive popularity, the specific things readers loved, the brainy but escapist vibe, that awkward first chapter, what's your hypothesis now?
Yeah, based on all this buzz and the details, would you predict this book is something you'd enjoy? What clues stand out most to you?
And maybe digging a bit deeper into that first chapter,
Yeah.
that kiss, and Dr. Carlsen calling her Olive. What do you think that really signals for where their fake relationship is actually heading? Definitely leaves you with something to think about.